Hello, my fireflies, and welcome back to the TheCyanFirefly. It's me, Lyette.
And Asley.
And today we're in for yet another Sunday Sitdown. Why are you staring at me like that?
No reason. Just carry on.
You don't like my you don't like my showman style?
Not really, no. They need some work.
You're just a hater. Anyway.
I ain't no hater. I just think you need some lessons from something. I don't know.
This is starting out so wonderfully. I like getting taken down by my co-host right in front of my audience. Oh, you do adore me. Anyway.
I do. I adore you so much that I gotta poke you right where it counts. I'm tired. Leave me alone.
What is wrong with you?
Everything and nothing. You know this already. Why do we have to keep going over it? We go over this every episode.
Leaning more towards the everything rather than nothing.
Oh, ha. Now look who's cutting who down. Come on.
Anyway, the footage in the background is, of course,
Guild Wars 2.
And it's what we've been playing for the past couple of weeks. We haven't been so frequent on it lately because we just flat out haven't really had the time. We've also been having some significant issues with our internet connection lately.
Oh, yeah. God.
We lost power a couple of weeks back, and I guess there's probably still something wrong with the power lines or the internet lines or the cable. I really don't know how the grid works. That's
the grid around our house is just really kind of... It's foolhardy.
Yeah.
That's putting it lightly.
But basically, there's nothing we can do about it. My connection will just flat out be spotty for a while, and any internet games can get screwed up as a result, which is unfortunate. Oh well. Oh,
that's the way the cookie crumbles, as it were.
Indeed. Anyway, Guild Wars 2. So that has kind of been our big game that we've been playing together, as we've told people. Anything interesting happen in it recently?
We finally got into a dungeon.
Yes.
Which was really, really awesome, and it was a pain in the ass, and we got our asses handed to us backwards and forwards. Sideways and...
Such foul language from such a pretty lady. Anyway.
Note to self, hit with cast iron skillet.
Anyway.
Rude awakening in the morning.
So, yes, we finally got into Cassidus Manor. Cassidus? Anyway, the Manor. It's the level 40 dungeon, as we are leveled down to level 40 to actually enter the dungeon. It is equivalent to your skill level regardless. So we had a hard time going through. We ended up losing one of our party members very early into the dungeon, and we kind of just got wiped quite a few times. We had to end up zerging some of the mods. The footage for that particular run should be in the background right now.
Oh my god. It was fun, but I was getting so damn pissed. It's just like, it shouldn't be this difficult. It shouldn't be this difficult.
There were some...
Those snipers at the end.
There was some dickish stuff in that dungeon.
God, those freaking hounds. That's what... Oh, you guys will see it when it actually gets to that point.
I can explain a couple of things that happened. There were, like, these bombers. They were guys that ran around with crates of TNT, and they'd throw them at you. And because the first room that you're in is so dark, you can't really see where the area it's going to hit is. So the entire party would just get one shot.
Ugh.
Done.
Like
we're all on the ground. What
cascade of
just
limbs. Happened? Oh man.
Somebody else would go to pick you up. They'd get hit too, and it was just one big clusterfuck. Anyway.
Oh my god. Not to mention, it's like it's so expensive to repair gear when you're in the middle of those dungeons. Yeah. It's like 5 silver and so much copper to repair. Oh.
Then near the end of the instance, there was a patrol of a separatist sharpshooter, and his whole special stick is that when you're fighting him, don't move, otherwise he gets critical shots on you. However, they decided to partner him with about 6 frickin' dogs that doubled as tanks. So they had a lot of HP. They could take a bunch of hits, and they could also fear you.
Yeah.
And when you're feared, you start running away. So the guy can 2-shot you while you have dogs eating you.
Oh yes, it was glorious. In an unpleasant manner.
We're not even going to talk about the final segment. You'll see the final segment for yourselves. That was just such a pain in the dick. Oh. I'm glad we're through with it and we can continue on to the next dungeon.
I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time I'm not, because they're just downright they're hard as shit.
I don't know which dungeon is next. I think it might be Twilight Arbor. I think that's it. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know. I remember
the first one was Ascalon Catacombs, which again was hard as hell.
I still have to do it because when everybody tried doing it, my computer overheated and wouldn't turn on for like 20 minutes.
That's why you need to switch to a proper gaming rig.
I don't have the money for a gaming rig. You know this.
I know you don't.
I'm a poor person.
We're both poor people.
Yeah, tell the person who's got to replace the battery for the laptop and the charger. Both of them crapped out like 2 weeks ago, and now I'm like... Yeah. Not pleasant.
That's...
Like, working on some art projects.
That's...
Beep.
That's
no
the
battery.
Nature of laptops, though. Laptops just... No. Done. I'm done. I have a $3,000 laptop. More expensive than my gaming rig. Died after a year. Warranty won't cover the damages. No. It's now a $3,000 brick.
Oh, that's Alienware for you.
And it didn't even perform as well as the computer I'm sitting on right now.
That in itself is technology, but we're kind of getting off track.
Yes, we are.
It has to happen.
So, things have been actually going pretty great for the channel. We can discuss that for a little bit. We've developed a somewhat working relationship with Dan Bull. Great guy, by the way. He's
oh my
awesome.
God, it is so fun talking to him. He's a freaking doll. He is funny as hell.
Yes.
And it's just such a pleasure to talk to him. Like, you've talked to him more than I have, but I kind of like peek over your shoulder at what he has to say, and it's so fun. It's so fun.
He's a funny guy, and he's helped me out quite a bit with a couple projects I'm working on. Some very interesting spacey projects you guys might be interested in.
Oh, yes.
We'll see. We'll see when that comes around.
Yeah, this project is definitely going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort.
I can't reveal too much, but
no.
It's may or may not be looking for a couple of amateur voice actors. So if you're interested in that, make sure to leave a comment down below. I may or may not contact you. Who knows? We'll see.
But it's definitely looking to be a fun little project.
Yes.
Gonna be a pain in the ass art-wise for me, but...
We have secured our next guest, Kit Fez. He's one of Dan Bull's friends. We don't exactly know when he'll be appearing on the show, but we have secured that, so he'll be on. We'll have a good time chatting with the Fez guy.
Looking very, very cool.
You know, I say that, and the only person I can think of is the guy from That 70s Show. The Fez. It's
Fez, not you. I think you're confusing That 70s Show with Happy Days.
No, I'm not thinking of the Fawns. I'm thinking of Fez.
Okay, like you're calling him the Fez. Like no, it's the Fawns, not Fez.
Speaking of That 70s Show, Felicia Day is going to appear on the next TGS podcast. That's something to look forward to.
Gonna be very fun. I'm really looking forward to watching those guys.
I'm plugging somebody else's show. I need all the viewers I can get.
Well, come on, though. It's Felicia Day. Come on.
The TGS is where we plan on ending up, so I guess it's not that bad that we talk about them from time to time.
But things are starting to look up. It's a frustrating road.
It's been a long road, and there's still quite a bit to walk ahead of us. But we're actually making out, which is something to be pretty proud of. Also, look forward to a Ludocraft developer interview sometime in the future.
Yes. Now that the Air Buccaneers beta is going to go...
It's not officially released.
Not
I think
official,
we're going to
no,
have to
but
wait
we're-
until it's officially released. But I have gotten into
Right.
their closed beta.
Well, both of us are in the closed beta
I'm
for it.
probably going to be in contact with Ollie, which is their...
Lead programmer or
No.
developer?
Ollie is their public relations
Oh,
guy.
okay.
So I'm going to probably be talking to Ollie sometime very soon. Who knows? But we'll try to get that set up.
Speaking of Ollie, he ran into Dan Bull at
Well, yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
That was
Ollie
pretty funny.
ended up running into Dan Bull, and apparently they had a conversation about me, which I'll be honest, it got my thrills because people considerably more famous about me know who I am. That it's an interesting sensation to experience that for the first time.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Now, we do have a topic for this week, as we should every week, but sometimes that doesn't always work out. And
Yes.
Either we don't get a show, or we just end up talking mindlessly about one game or another. So, the topic for this week is the rise of indie games, and perhaps its implications on the gaming industry as a whole. So, I don't know if you want to start us off, if you have any interesting tidbits to go about.
Well, I did a little bit of research on it, and from 2008 to now, there has been like a steady rise in indie developed games. For example, back in 2000...
Probably goes back a little bit further than that, but these are perhaps some of the most well-known examples.
Right. So, 2008 rolls around and we see Castle Crashers being released on Xbox Live. A couple years later, 2011, they've sold 2.6 million copies, and that's just on the Xbox. Castle Crashers is now about to be released on the Steam platform. I believe it's also been released on PlayStation 3?
Well, it's already been released on PlayStation 3. It was released in 2010 on PlayStation 3.
Right, okay.
But it actually goes back even further than that. The company that released Castle Crashers, what was their name? Behemoth.
Oh,
Behemoth
God,
Studios. The company that released Castle Crashers started off as a small little group of friends who
did stuff on Newgrounds.
Yeah, they decided to release a Flash game on Newgrounds called Alien Hominid.
Yes.
Now, this game got insanely popular insanely quickly. It actually made Newgrounds one of the most popular places on the internet to actually play Flash games.
Yep.
And view Flash videos and stuff like that. I actually used to be on Newgrounds quite a bit. I remember playing Alien Hominid when it was new. Yes, I'm such a hipster. I know. Shut up. Anyway.
I said nothing.
No, but somebody in the comments is gonna say something. I know they are.
They're gonna say it now! Just to spite you! Come on!
Yeah, well, that person can eat a dirty sock. Anyway. Inhale, exhale.
Oh, crap. Oh.
I will kill you one day with laughter. Anyway.
Here are an Anagon Road.
Anyway, so Alien Hominid was released on Newgrounds, made Newgrounds incredibly popular. And then Microsoft approached Behemoth and offered to put that game on Xbox Live as long as they ported it over. So that eventually happened, and boom! This company was set for goddamn life because of it. They made so much money off of that game, and they made Microsoft so much money off of that game, that they could actually make themselves into a full-blown studio, and they went on to make Castle Crashers, which, that stands for itself. Nobody really needs to explain Castle Crashers here. That game is everywhere. That game is ridiculously popular. If it weren't
to the point where it has DLC now.
If it weren't for the casual crowd, I would say it's as popular as Angry Birds.
Oh, Jesus.
It's got a similar art style to Angry Birds, but that's neither here nor there.
See, I'm I'd probably go on a tangent on when it comes to the art style. The art style is very different from Angry Birds. I can tell you that right now.
No, it's still got that very much iOS, isometric, 2.5D style with the very heavy line work and the color palette.
Angry Birds comes off to me more as vector-based, and Castle Crashers doesn't
Whatever,
have
this is artsy-smartsy stuff, and we're a gaming channel. Anyway...
Yeah, this is me going off on a tangent.
So, how does that happen in this modern day and age? Well, indie games have been getting very incredibly popular very, very quickly. I remember just a couple of years back where indie games were virtually non-existent. You couldn't really pick up a $10 game, and at least, not a good one. They just really...
The closest thing to an indie development would be mods for different games.
Yeah, and typically you'd have to go to various different other websites. You would have to download all sorts of special little things and mod a game. There were very few actual indie titles out there. And now with the advent of stuff like Xbox Live, the PlayStation Network, and Steam...
or what was that one? Desura, and all these
tons
other
of games
places.
All over the place that are extremely cheap, developed by like a couple of people, and they become incredibly popular, some of them. I guess the best the best example, which we kind of covered on the last Sunday Sit-Down with Dan, was obviously Minecraft.
Oh my god, yes.
Minecraft, oh god, that is a success story and a half. That game has sold
over
4 million copies. Yeah, over 4 million copies.
And rising. Like,
people are still buying that game.
People are still buying the game.
Notch is so loaded that he managed to donate like $1 million to one of the last Humble Indie Bundles.
I remember hearing about that one, actually, yeah.
That guy has no want for money for the rest of his life, and he still wants to make more games. All the power to him. Do whatever you want with your life, but that game just flew off. And
it's surprising. I agree with Dan in what he said the last time. Like, it wasn't an expected turn. Like, the game looks ridiculous, but once you start playing it, it's like, oh my god, this is fun.
What I really think
it's
has
like
to do with some of this is the advent of social media, and where social media is going with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube,
Google Plus.
YouTube, where we are right now. Well, not so much Google Plus. Google Plus is more of a business thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
That's really kind of like a whole business contacts thing, which is really why I'm not part of it. But,
yeah, I guess I can see that. I know some people still use it for, like, the personal networking kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's still more Facebook's territory.
Yeah.
But, anyway, moving on. But even YouTube. YouTube is the large part of why Minecraft is so successful. And there are a couple of people to look into that, but I guess the most important people on that field would be the Yogscast. And their Shadow of Israfel series, because that made that game so inanely popular. I mean, the Yogscast has 2.5 million subscribers now, and their rising popularity brought even more popularity to Minecraft, which brought more notoriety to it, and people just bought further and further into this game. People made more and more videos about it. The word got out there. It got spread across Twitter. It got spread across Facebook, and everybody wanted to be a part of it. It literally spread like wildfire. And
Minecraft is like the home of mods and indie development. It really is.
But before the internet, like in the 90s, crap like that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't see anything like that.
Not at all.
That domain was literally by the big AAA developers: Sega, Nintendo, Sony, the big three.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Nintendo and
Atari. And Odyssey. Odyssey had its little...
and the Amiga. That was a computer.
Yep. I had to think for a second. What?
Yeah. MS-DOS games. Jeez. Yeah, it goes back quite a ways. It actually goes back before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
But stuff like that just really wouldn't have happened before the advent of the internet. And now we're actually slowly starting to see what gamers want as a whole because of all this social media stuff, rather than a couple of guys in a boardroom deciding what we should play and what we shouldn't play. We now have a much more powerful voice. We can inform ourselves much better about what games are doing, and we can say what we want and actually be listened to because our voices are more accessible by these companies now. And hopefully we can actually see some of the big AAA companies learn from these smaller indie companies.
Yes, that was actually the point I was going to make, because we've got indie developers look for the feedback from players. If it wasn't for the player feedback, their games would suck.
Revelations 2012. I will bash that game anytime I get the chance to. That game is horrible.
But no, the point's there though. Like, there's so many avenues for these small companies, these hole-in-the-wall groups, to get the necessary feedback to make their intellectual property, their dreams, become a reality. Whereas you got things like EA, and on their little tangent of, now we have to make multiplayer in every game that's being released, and it's like, you know what? Come on.
I will tell you, however, that development by crowdsourcing is not always the best. There have been movies that were developed that way that ended up being really crappy. Super Mario
Brothers.
Yeah. Every single cast member had input on that script. That's why that movie was so terrible.
Well, there has to be a limit. And I think a lot of gaming companies and indie development companies specifically realize that. I mean, even Ludocraft, when we gave them feedback on Air Buccaneers, they said, okay, yes, we agree with you on these points. We'll consider these other ones.
Well, actually, they weren't even so much worried about that. They were already aware that these were problems, and they had planned on working on them anyway. So somebody had already brought those to them.
But they acknowledged the fact that we said these things should be fixed.
Granted, the sword fighting system, and it still sucks, but...
Well, again, it's still in beta. So they do have time to really make it work.
I adore that game, don't get me wrong. It's just the sword fighting system in it kind of sucks. Sorry, guys.
But, again, the point's there, though. It's like, some of these people will take the opinion, the word of everyday Joe Schmoes like you and me.
Well, it's just that they're aware that if their consumers don't get the product that they want, the product that they want to play, they'll take their money elsewhere. These big companies don't really have to worry about that all that much because they have loyal people who will buy it anyway.
Right.
Do you know how many people just went ahead and bought the next installment of, like, FIFA, even though it innovates in absolutely no ways? It's just like a roster and a graphics update. You know, the same goes with the Call of Duty series, specifically Modern Warfare. You could make the argument for so many different things. People who jumped to defend Mass Effect 3 after the fiasco that ending was. People who still, to this day, defend... I don't remember what Dragon Age 2. People who still defend Dragon Age 2 to the death. When that game, compared to Dragon Age Origins, is just complete garbage. You know, it's almost like BioWare just actually does not get the feedback it needs because it's surrounded by a group of people who just support the game blindly.
Yeah.
Whatever they release, they claim as gold, and as a result, they just take the word of those people over the people who actually give good, constructive criticism to them. And it also doesn't help that there is also a cult of just absolute haters who just want to bash the game and everything else, so they're kind of unwilling to listen to anybody who critiques them because they just think it's another person who's just out to bash their game and cause rabble-rousing. Yeah, you guys aren't helpful either.
unfortunately, with the way the internet runs, as it were, trollers will be trolls.
Trollers be trolling.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, moving on
unfortunately,
to that, we were discussing the rise of indie games. We've kind of
gone
off on a little tangent
again.
So, but yes, indie games continue only to get more popular and more popular. Indie games can innovate in ways that
indie games have a really big impact on the gaming industry and as a whole. I mean,
it's surprising how big their impact is, because it's just these small, tiny little companies releasing games at, that they have no
poured their heart and souls into.
Well, yeah, they have no budget. They do this in their basement in their free time. They release a inanely creative game. They spin it across a couple of their friends tell their friends, their friends tell their friends, and eventually you get this whole big network of people who suddenly really want to touch this game, and these people literally become overnight success stories. Yeah, there are some games that are actually, the vast majority of games are absolute arse, but
yeah.
You do get these gems that are really good, and they deserve to succeed. There are also a lot of games that do deserve to succeed that don't.
Right, yeah.
I've seen that happen quite a few times. And
there are a few that are on Steam right now that look like they have really great potential. There are some that are on Steam that, for the green light, that play well, but they're just not getting the attention that they need. And then there's a lot of them that just...
Much like Air Buccaneers. Air
Buccaneers needs a lot of support. And yeah,
it really deserves to get on that service.
It needs the attention, and it's just... For some damn reason, it's just not getting it.
Yeah, people don't want to seem to support that title. I don't know why. That's actually an extremely creative title. And it's gotten even more creative with the closed beta. I'm not going to discuss that all that much. I'm not technically NDA'd, so that doesn't really matter. I just want to wait for it and wait for an actual developer interview before I discuss that more.
Yeah.
But a lot has changed. Quite a lot has changed.
It's very... That's a game that went from, okay, this seems like a neat concept, to, damn.
Yeah.
Holy crap, damn. I mean...
Explosive balloon is OP. Anyway.
Yes.
But what other games have actually just come out of the blue that ended up completely ridiculous?
2008, we saw Braid hit Xbox Live. They sold 26 million copies of the game. 2010, we saw this creepy little horror game. Everybody knows it as Limbo.
That game was amazing. I remember buying that pretty much as soon as it came out. I played through it and I just was in awe the entire time. And that game it's such a simple concept. It's a platformer like any other game. The only thing that they change is the ambience and the aesthetic. That game just plays with shadows. That's all it does. It could be just like any other platformer out there. But it's soundless. There's no music. It's just a hollow...
ambient sound effects.
Yeah, it's like a hollow wind blowing throughout the entire thing. And shadows. It's all in black and white.
It's a monochromatic scale. It's not exactly
it's not black and white,
but it's got like the shades of gray. But that's beside the point. The game...
But that's all the game did, and it was such
phenomenal.
A great game.
It was so simple. I mean, come on, people. You don't need all the flashy, gimmicky crap. Limbo did a really good thing.
Yes, they did.
892,000 copies.
There's another great horror game out there that has done... There are two great horror games, I should say, that have done similar things. One of them's free, one of them's not. The first one would be Amnesia. That was a small, tiny little indie title, and it's managed to accomplish horror in a way that I have not seen in years. Horror games seem to have gone down this completely different route. That, yeah, it sold well, but they were no longer really scary. Yeah. Like, you could get, basically, in most horror games now, it's survival horror, or it's action horror. I more like survival horror. What most people do now is action horror. They give you a gun, they put creepy-looking things in front of your face, and you have to kill them.
Yeah.
I mean, Dead Space got me a couple of times because there were some really nice jump scares in that.
Ugh.
But, like, the most recent Resident Evil, it's a gun game that just happens to have zombies in it. You could replace those with people, you could replace those with aliens, you could replace them with anything, and it would still feel the exact same.
I can see the raging rabid fanboys coming a mile away now.
It's not that it's a bad game. It's just not a good horror game.
Yes.
It's not scary. It does not scare me.
It didn't do anything innovative. They took... Let's be honest. Each Resident Evil game is really pretty much the same concept.
No. Story-wise, sure. Gameplay-wise, though, a lot of those games are significantly different from one another.
I'm talking about
story. You haven't played the old Resident Evil.
I'm strictly talking story. It's like
the
outbreak
old Resident
happens.
Evils were scary.
Time to get rid of it. Do something. Escape Raccoon City. Whatever.
But here's the thing: the old Resident Evil games, and as a matter of fact, the old Silent Hill games, were scary because weapons are scarce, ammo is scarce. You have to run. You have to hide. You have to avoid things. You don't fight all the time. You're not given a lot of power.
Right.
That's what horror games seem to have forgotten.
Well, we also have to remember.
Horror titles seem to have forgotten.
We also have to remember too that when these titles were first released, they had limited graphics capabilities. The consoles themselves didn't have the capabilities that the consoles today do.
But that's irrelevant.
It is and it isn't because of the more powerful systems. They can do more.
Yes, but that's irrelevant. I'm literally referring to the power of the character. The characters that they've made over time more powerful. They can do more. They can fight. I don't want that in a horror game. Right. I want the experience of being powerless. I want to be afraid. I want to actually worry that these things are coming after me. I don't want to feel like I can just arbitrarily destroy them. I want a threat, I guess is what I'm saying. I want to be threatened in these kinds of games. And which is what Amnesia does.
Amnesia does that really well because you can't fight worth a damn.
No, the only option you have to do is run and hide.
Oh my god, the first time
Granted, that takes it to the extreme. It takes it to the very much extreme. It completely removes your ability to fight rather than giving you the limited ability to fight. Amnesia...
Which kind of makes you wonder what they're going to be doing with the next installment of the series. It's going to be the same, or are they actually going to... I think it's going to be more of
the same, but I'm okay with that as far as Amnesia goes.
Yeah.
Sometimes more of the same is good, because simply we don't get enough of that in the modern day and age.
Right.
The other title would, of course, be Slender. Slender is another example of these... it's another example of these games of you have to survive. You have to avoid what's going on. You can't fight these things. Minecraft did it too. The whole concept of survive through the night. There are scary things out there. You're not that well equipped to fight them. At least at the beginning. Later on in Minecraft, you get all diamond equipment. Granted, at that point, you still have the horror of frickin' creepers, but it's much less scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing more irritating in Minecraft. You have full diamond armor. You're sitting there mining some obsidian. Damn it!
Every time.
Every single time. Still scares me when I do play Minecraft, but I don't play it all that often anymore. But moving right along.
Moving on to a couple of other, or at least one other title. Last year we saw the release of Bastion. 500,000 copies sold. Bastion was absolutely amazing. This game came out of left field and just took to the stars.
That game is astounding, and it's just it's just this little isometric game where you explore a world that builds itself in front of you, and
that's
it gives
like
you
such an amazing concept too.
There's such a good narrator in it too. They've got a guy with a really good voice, a really good sense of humor, and the script writers for him were also amazing. And they just told a story.
in such a unique way.
Yeah,
it was so...
just...
The game is unique on so many levels that it grabs you, holds you. You were only supposed to play a couple levels of this game when you did the live and the TLDR.
I went ahead and beat the whole game right after finishing the Liat Distant Live. I stopped recording and I continued playing. That's all that happened. I was almost late delivering the TLDR because I was just so enraptured with that frickin' game.
And that's happened to you a couple of times with a couple of indie developed games. FTL. You beat that game like twice, I think. Ever since when you played it the first time through. That's...
What I think there's a couple of other games that I just went ahead and beat after I was done.
You beat Braid. Didn't you? Or
no,
did you
I've
come
never
close
beaten
to it?
Braid. I've never done a video on Braid.
Yeah, you did. You did a live commentary on it.
You sure?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Whatever.
Oh, wow.
We just hit... This is our 102nd video. Do you really honestly expect me to remember all, 25 games I reviewed?
Oh. Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I expect you to remember.
It sounds like so few when I say it like that. No, 50 games. What am I talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All the 50 games I've reviewed on this channel over the past, 6 months?
Yeah.
So, it's been a while.
You're supposed to remember.
You know what? I got that from Hundle Indie Bundle 5, so I probably did do a video on it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So...
Yeah.
But, moving along... Super Meat Boy is another similar game that...
Oh my god.
That actually, again, comes from Newgrounds.
Newgrounds, yep.
It was originally Meat Boy on Newgrounds, developed into Super Meat Boy, which is frustrating as hell.
1 million copies.
Mm-hmm.
That's just really damn impressive.
But... It's... The way that these gaming companies have taken off, these small little tiny companies, from this little nugget, this little idea that they had. People play it, they love it, they tell their friends about it, videos get posted on YouTube, everybody wants to play it. They become famous pretty much overnight success stories. And this was impossible back when we were kids. Stuff like this just flat out wouldn't happen. Because there was no real
niche. There was no niche for it.
It's not even a matter of a niche. There could have been a niche for it. It's the fact that there was no big way for people to spread content around, like with the way that YouTube can, the way that Twitter can.
Right.
Things just... Way back when, it was just word of mouth. If there was a really popular game in a city, it might just stay in that city. It would have never actually reached,
overseas or to the next state over. Yeah.
Yeah, in the days of the internet, anything can become crazy popular, crazy fast. It just depends on how good it is and whether or not it reaches the right
people.
ears.
Yeah.
And those particular ears want to spread the word to other ears.
Yeah.
Every single idea has the capability of becoming insanely popular. I mean, there are a couple of YouTubers out there who I really don't like. I would have never expected them to be as popular as they are. I would even go as far as to debate the legitimacy of them having the popularity that they do. But the fact of the matter is, their content reached the right ears. A couple of people found it funny enough to spread it to other people, and the fire caught on.
Yep.
And there are enough people who, I guess, are just willing enough to watch that kind of content, consume that kind of content, and they're incredibly popular. But then there are, of course, companies that manage to curry certain favors with certain organizations and manage to get their games promoted, even if they aren't really deserving to be promoted. And this is where I will discuss Revelations 2012.
Yeah.
That game, basically, I guess the guys who made that game flattered the guys at Valve because they made a source mod game There are games that constantly get passed over, never actually make it to Steam, and Revelations 2012, which is a dirt game. It's horrible. The voice acting in it is bad. The graphics in it are bad. And, like, these aren't even things that I'm saying subjectively. These are this game is objectively bad. The mechanics are all but broken. The shooting feels absolutely weak. The sound effects are poor. The concept is just flat out silly. Ancient Mayans from the past are trying to cause the apocalypse in December 25, 2012.
Please don't have an aneurysm on the desk.
I already had one.
Oh, damn it. Now I have to clean it up.
I just don't even know. Stuff like that just doesn't deserve attention. People need to stop paying attention to it.
Unfortunately,
it's not even a matter of it's so bad it's good. It's just bad.
Oh, no. I know. It's just... Unfortunately, that the habit... And I feel really bad saying that it's a habit at this point. But it's kind of become the norm when it comes to any business practice, really. Not just video games, but books, movies, music.
Well...
Pay somebody off to say this is great.
Theory. There's an interesting, and it's not even that. There's an interesting theory. Is that people like slow motion train wrecks.
Oh God, yeah.
Now, what do I mean by that? It's people, when they hear that something is absolutely horrible, need to go and experience how horrible it is for themselves. 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, any other number of things out there that are actually incredibly bad.
But the minute that you pay attention to it is the minute that subject matter gets more attention and it grows.
And we've discussed this earlier. It's like people who don't like Justin Bieber. You don't like Justin Bieber? You want him to go away? Stop talking about him!
And it's really that simple, but people don't... There's like this gap in logic that
he would have never
doesn't
gotten popular.
Get bridged.
He would have never gotten popular if people who absolutely hated him did not spread his stuff around going, lol, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't spread that stuff around, the word about him wouldn't have gotten around. You're responsible for it. You are actually responsible for
his popularity.
People like that being popular. What's her name?
Snooki.
Oh no, that's Jersey Shore. That's
right, but Jersey Shore is a train wreck in and of itself, and people talking about it.
That's a trashy television show who push their content through. That's something else. There are some people who actually see her as an idol.
But again, it's right there. People who are willing to pay attention to that.
That's not.
She's a train wreck. I'm telling you.
Yes, but this isn't a matter of my haters. That's not an effect of my haters make me famous. Where did that come from?
My haters make me famous? I don't know.
No,
but that's a Facebook status that I need to place.
No, do not.
Oh God, really? Is that bad?
What's her name?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Oh, I'll find her. Keep talking, please. Talk.
I really don't know what
Jesse Slaughter. Jesse Slaughter was the prime example of this. She and 4chan, you're responsible for why this little girl is popular. This little girl decided to make a haters make me famous video and insulted 4chan.
Oh no.
And 4chan basically
that's like going right up to Encyclopedia Dramatica and poking with a stick.
And made her life a living hell. But it made this girl famous as hell. The reason why she has a platform is because you guys decided to hate her. You decided to spread her message around. That's why she's famous. That's why she now has a platform that we have to listen to. It's your fault.
Well, they can
Rebecca Black, too. Rebecca Black. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
These people have a platform because you hate them. That's why they're popular. That's why
sites like
I can rant
Encyclopedia
about this
Dramatica
every
really
single
need to
day.
be. That's why sites like Encyclopedia Dramatica really need to rethink their concept of satirical humor.
You want to bash these people and make fun of them, and I understand that. But you do it in such a public forum that it makes them bigger than they are, and it makes them stay around for even longer, because you are making them money. I don't think people understand that on YouTube. If you hate a video, don't pay attention to it. Do not spread Do not spread the information around. Do not draw attention to them, and they will go away. Otherwise, you are effectively making them a paycheck.
Yeah.
Same goes for these terrible video games. If you don't want terrible video games, tell the developer. Don't spread information around about the game if it's not a popular game. If it is an incredibly popular game, do what I do. Review it, post it up, and warn people not to buy it.
Yeah. Like...
it's slightly different. It's a slightly different situation when it comes to consumer video games. I'll admit that, because people are purchasing it rather than just by viewing it they're getting money. So
yeah,
it's a slightly different situation. But as far as YouTube videos goes, if you don't like somebody on YouTube, don't draw attention to them, and they will eventually go away. Again,
like I said earlier, there's a gap in logic.
We're on a significant tangent again.
I know, but I just need to make this point.
Will this show ever stay on topic?
Not for long.
No. Hopefully Kit Fez will keep us on topic next time around. Who knows?
Oh, Jesus.
We've completely lost it at this point. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. We're both actually rather tired. And we both about have half a drink in us. So.
Yep.
Anyway.
Cheers to everybody listening. This one's for you.
Yeah, if you've actually managed to stick with us for, I don't know, about 40 minutes now, all the power to you. I'm not sure if I would listen to this show. Then again, we're basically TGS Lite, so who knows?
I wouldn't even say that. But, anyway.
It is true, though. This show is basically a smaller version of the podcast. They just have more experience than we do, a little bit more knowledge, because they've been around longer. We also have much less profile as far as people we get onto the show. So.
Anyway, back on topic. So, what's the relevance, importance of the indie companies
basically
in terms of
the way I see it, and things could possibly end up going up this way, is that we're going to see less and less big game companies, and that's just a simple matter of they don't really seem to actually fully cater to people the way they don't seem to fully cater to the consumer base anymore. They have some really questionable practices as of late. And we've seen some really, really bad stuff from companies we used to revere. For instance, we saw the stuff with Mass Effect 3 from BioWare.
And Dragon Age.
BioWare is a company that I had absolute faith in for years. I would buy anything that BioWare put out. Mass Effect 3 ending, Dragon Age 2, and the fact that they defended these games to death. I'm actually rather disgusted with the company. I'm happy with the ending DLC, so I will look into Dragon Age 3, but if they let me down again, I am not even gonna suffer to hear BioWare said in my presence.
Yeah.
And then we also have, like with EA, we're not going to greenlight a game that doesn't have multiplayer in it. Piss off.
I just don't understand where their heads are when it comes to that, because that just...
You know how many great games there are that are just single-player experiences?
And meant for single-player experiences.
Do you know how much money they could have made if they, had the guys if they, like for instance, if they own the Amnesia franchise, are you actually going to tell me that you're going to try to force Amnesia 2 to have some kind of multiplayer? Are you freaking kidding me? That game would not benefit in any way, shape, or form from a multiplayer, and it's even better as it is without multiplayer functionality. That is a great game. That is a stupendous experience.
The fact that it's a single-player game gives this sense of loneliness. You know for a fact that no one else is outside of this game but you. You are the only person playing this game in this current session. You don't have to worry about Joe Schmo over there playing alongside you. You're isolated. You're alone. And that gives the game a greater sense of terror.
Yeah, certain games... Just certain genres, certain entire genres benefit absolutely nothing from having multiplayer. Epic RPGs, especially JRPGs, there is absolutely no benefit to having multiplayer in a game like that.
Yeah.
Other kinds of RPGs. For instance, I would not want somebody in... I really wouldn't want to play FTL with somebody else. I really wouldn't want to play XCOM story mode with somebody else. That game does have a multiplayer, by the way. There is going to be a multiplayer mode in that. But it's a versus mode where one person gets to play aliens, one person gets to play...
Yeah, but see, that kind of concept makes sense.
No, that's a turn-based strategy game, so it works a little differently.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of game that benefits from a single-player or only experience. I need a better example.
Sword and sorcery?
I'm kind of destroyed at the moment. Sword and sorcery? Sword and sorcery, you mean?
Sword and sorcery, yes.
Hold on.
So that doesn't have a
Speaking of which, I still haven't beaten that game. Every single time I log in on it, I realize that it's not the right day for me to finish the puzzle. And I was supposed to hop in on it on Friday, and I just never got around to it.
Congratulations.
That video, long time ago. Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery. Sorcery with a W. Yeah, I don't know how you would pronounce sorcery. It's sorcery. Oh, God.
Yeah, let's please not have a phonetic lesson. Thanks.
What other games? VVVVVVV.
Frig?
What other games
I don't want to
know. Reckless Disregard for Gravity.
Yes.
And Yet It Moves. Atom Zombie Smasher. Bastion probably wouldn't have been all that great multiplayer. The Binding of Isaac, that might have been good, but there's any puzzle game. Puzzle games do not really benefit from having multiplayer in them. Deus Ex games, the Deus Ex really shouldn't have multiplayer in it. Man, I just realized how freaking massive my library is, and how and all the games on it that I actually just haven't played all that much. But there's time to have multiplayer in your game, and there's time to not. And you shouldn't refuse to sign on a game just because it doesn't have multiplayer in it, because that's just an asinine ideal that it's going to cost EA a lot of money.
And unfortunately, though, because EA being the powerhouse that it is, other AAA companies are going to start taking
but the thing is,
hints and tips from them.
Here's the thing, though. I really feel EA is going to suffer as a result of this.
Honestly, I kind of hope that they do, because maybe it'll make them start thinking
people hopefully are going to wisen up and start spending their money on these indie games that, let's just face it, have a lot more tender love and care put into them, because these people are making these games out of a passion. They're not making them to make money, like EA frankly does.
Some of them are trying to ensure that they make money off of it.
But that's just apparent. These games aren't being made because these guys want to make money. They're being made because they love video games and they want to make a video game. It's like this channel. Obviously, I want to make money off of it. That's just a blatant fact. I have to treat it like a business.
Right.
But I didn't start this channel because I want to make money. I made this channel because I really love video games. I love talking about video games. I want to make video games a big part of my life.
Right, right.
That's why the channel exists. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And
there you go, folks. An insider look at the brain behind the TheCyanFirefly.
I have a brain?
Sometimes. If I only had a brain.
Yes, that is your self-appointed theme song to me. Anyway. Yeah, we're completely off track now. We should probably just end very soon before the derailment hops into the next county over.
With a little push from Mr. Alcohol.
Oh god. Don't drink, kids, really.
You know, we say that every episode, but what is it that we do?
Really, this is the only time we drink. We really actually do not drink any other time during the week. We have one drink a week, and that's when we do our podcast. Simply because it's a nice way to relax, it's a nice way to forget the stress of the week. And we're 22. Deal with it. That's my last point. We're 22. Deal with it. Yes, we did wait until we were 21, like we were supposed to. Do not come after us, FBI. Anyway.
Wow.
Dude, I'm like on every single FBI watch list out there. A couple of weeks ago, I made a joke about wanting to strangle both Mitt Romney and Obama for being stupid and just doing their ad campaigns back and forth, bashing each other rather than actually focusing on what they're going to do to aid the country. They're so eager to tear each other down, yet I haven't heard a decent word for them how they're actually going to fix the USA. But that's neither here nor there. That's getting into a very political subject that I don't want our viewers talking about.
Yeah.
But as soon as I said that, I knew somewhere somebody flipped a switch on a switchboard.
Big Brother's watching you!
I know somebody flipped a switch on a switchboard and said, oh, there's this guy, Lyette, on the internet. We need to figure out his true information. We need to spend a spy drone over his house.
At this point, honey, I think you're a little bit paranoid. But that's another topic.
That's like actually implying that I'm worth what. Then again, they did send a whole police investigation force after the 13-year-old girl who said she wanted somebody to shoot Obama in the face.
What?
Oh, you didn't hear about that? We can discuss that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that one in private, but no, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous situation, but moving on.
Yeah, again, we're off topic.
So, things that are coming up. Guns of Icarus.
Oh, yes. We got the pre-purchase of that.
Interesting things going on in that game. I'm going to definitely be discussing it at length. I have several concerns about it. I'm not sure if I want to give it a full recommendation the way I gave Air Buccaneers, but I would...
Which is kind of interesting, because I think...
We can discuss that when we actually get to
that.
I don't know about that, but we can discuss it when we get to that actual video. I do really want to get in contact with a dev to see if some of my concerns will be answered about that game. But
well, it's also in beta
for
for it too. It's got a pre-purchase on the beta. So.
Wait for that video.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Definitely waiting for it.
Don't make your judgments on that game. I just want to say before you go ahead and pre-order that title, look into it.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else? I got a couple of Humble Bundle games I may or may not cover. Depends. Wizorb looks pretty fun. But these are some older games. Who knows?
Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with heading some really older games or some classic games. I mean...
Which is fair enough. I mean, I released a video on Shatter last week, and that game came out in 2009. It was released on Steam in 2010. So it just really depends on whether or not these games are decent enough to do something on.
Right.
Or, whether or not I get bored out of my mind and feel like playing something for the hell of it and throwing it on the channel. Who knows?
Yeah. Speaking of the Humble Bundle, though, you guys definitely keep an eye out on the Humble Bundle.
I think this particular one might be over by now, so...
even still, you can go onto the Humble Bundle website. You can plug in your email address, and they'll give you an update on when the next bundle is released. And it's just jump on it every time it comes out, or at least at any time that there's a couple games on it that seem interesting to you, because these games are just phenomenal.
But yes, for people's information, I'm still sitting on Steam Greenlight, and I'm still talking to devs who want their stuff released on Steam Greenlight, and I'm looking for opportunities there, which is pretty cool. I mean, I've gotten word back from a couple of people. There are some people who aren't willing to have their game run through me. There are other people who may be interested. It all depends on where it goes. Either way, it's a very interesting experience, and I really like developing these relationships with these devs. I'm still waiting on the guys at Ubisoft, or not Ubisoft necessarily, Uplay, which is technically a Ubisoft group. Or is it Ubisoft?
No,
themselves?
it is Ubisoft, I think.
Yeah, whatever. But I've still got a active ticket with them. They did get back to me asking me to talk to them later. But the mighty quest for epic loot, I will be doing some coverage on that game at some point. All depends on how that ends up working out.
Yeah. It would be very amusing to see if we could get our hands on that one and actually do some coverage of it.
Because that game looks very funny, very cute.
God.
But I'm pretty sure we're out of time at this point. I don't know how much footage we have for this week, and I don't want to just put the last 10 minutes of Lyat dancing in a swimsuit again. So,
yeah.
For now, this has been Lyat.
And Azalee.
Wasting another hour of your life with the Sunday Sitdown.
Yo. And now we're going to go to bed.
Maybe. Who knows? Catch y'all later.
Bye.